Arvia can't be that bad, right? Stick around and let's talk it through. Today we're diving into the world of P&O Cruises' newest ship, Arvia. Despite being the latest addition to the fleet, Arvia has faced a wave of criticism, one reviewer on Cruise Critic even dubbing it Butlins at Sea. And Cruising with the 4Bs revealed that Arvia is the lowest rated ship on both Cruise Critic and Trip Advisor in the P&O lineup. Is Arvia really that bad? Stick around as we take a look through some of those reviews and give our own perspective based on our recent sailing. Hey guys, so before we get started, we just wanted to make something really clear so there's no ambiguity. So all of the reviews that we go through today, we're just going to give our own perspective based on our own experiences. We're not saying that the reviewers are wrong or anything like that, it's just based on our experience.
Exactly. Any cruise you go on, your experience is always going to be your own, and we're just going to give our summary based on some key themes that we've read and take it from there.
So Ben, where's our first stop?
Our first stop is really important one for us Brits, the sunbeds. So a really recurring theme that comes up online on all review sites is how early you need to get up for sunbeds. So one quote here, sea days in particular are a nightmare, had to get up at 6 a.m. just to get a sunbed.
You know what? There's some truth behind that. We did exactly the same on our first sunny day to get that prime spot. Now, on other days where we weren't as bothered where we actually found a sunbed, we got up and we went on a search for around 10:30, and it took around 10 to 15 minutes to find one. So, I mean, the message is, as long as you're not too picky about where you go, you probably will find one eventually. Arvia's got loads of sunbeds, but yeah, if you want that prime spot, absolutely, it is an early start. So I've got a little one about food. Oh, big one. So food quality was inconsistent and sometimes inedible, particularly in the main dining room. What do you think?
It's definitely inconsistent. We didn't eat in the main dining room that often. We did breakfast, lunch and dinner, and to be honest, every time we ate in the MDR, it was really good, really fast as well. Right. Breakfast is not that great, the toast's stale and cold, so you can't actually butter it. So yeah, the toast in the MDR is dreadful. Just go to the Horizon Buffet if you want toast, it'll be fresh, it'll be hot, buttery goodness is available. But yeah, MDR otherwise, I didn't ever really have a problem with it.
It's great.
Yeah, problem area for me was actually speciality dining and the inconsistency you run into there. Different times even, so you go into Sindhu as it opens, usually quite poor service and quite poor quality in food. Whereas you go kind of an hour and a half into service, it feels like everyone's kind of found their flow and their rhythm and everything's better. So I'd actually say MDR okay, speciality dining, somewhat inconsistent. The Keys, always a winner. I love the Keys, 10 out of 10.
I like this. What's next?
Okay, so the next one is all about entertainment. Specifically, entertainment being repetitive and lacking in variety, with shows sometimes / often being cancelled last minute.
Oh, I can't say in our experience we'd agree. But of course it just depends what happens on the sailing that you're on. We found the entertainment really varied actually, and it was very good entertainment. We didn't have any cancelled shows. That said, the last time we went on Anthem of the Seas a month or so ago, one of the showings of We Will Rock You got cancelled, and it was the last show. So the only bit of advice that I'd give you is if there's a show you really want to see, try not to leave it until the last showing, just in case that happens, because you know, technical difficulties and you know, singers getting unwell, it happens, and sometimes they have to cancel a show and it's sad. So yeah, be prepared for that. But in summary, Arvia, I think the entertainment was really varied and they did a good job, but there we go, horses for courses.
Yeah, I kind of think entertainment-wise, the Headliners Theatre is kind of exactly what it says. You're pretty much guaranteed a good show. Where it is quite inconsistent, for me, is the Skydome.
I'd agree.
It is better, the Skydome in Arvia is better acoustically than Iona, and obviously the retractable roof really helps when the weather permits it to be retracted. But yeah, generally speaking, they seem to put a lot of singers in the Sky Dome, and it just doesn't reflect their singing ability, and it really could do with a new venue. Like, even if they gave the Pulse a break and put some of the singers in the cocktail bar at the aft, that would be a much better use of a singer.
That's a brilliant idea. Brilliant idea. Yeah. P&O, if you're listening, take that on board. Well, I've got one about service.
Okay.
Ooh. So service in the bars and restaurants was slow, and staff seemed uninterested and overworked.
You know what? First thing that comes to mind is there is some truth to this one with specific bars. Mm-hmm. So in our experience, I'd say the Crow's Nest, the best venue in terms of view, consistently the worst service.
Yeah, it's not great. I think the problem is they will not serve you at the bar. They insist on people sitting down and then people coming around and taking your order. Now, it's really nice, it's got a bit of grandeur to it, and it feels nice, but it really slows the service up. So in that venue, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. When you go to other venues, so actually, if I track back, we were in the Crow's Nest one day for 45 minutes and we hadn't been served, even though there was several people working and several people in the bar, so it wasn't even busy. We then left out of a bit of frustration, went to the Glass House, and it was very busy in the Glass House. We were served in 2 minutes and with a smile. And I remember she was fantastic. She talked us through the wine menu, because the only thing we know about wine is you can drink it. And she was really helpful and really attentive, and actually took us through, recommended lots of nice wines.
The thing is, they work pretty much all day, and in our experience, the majority of the time, you'd see them smiling in the morning, and even in the evening, they'd still be working, and generally, they'd still be smiling and happy to have a little chat if they had time. So I think they work really hard and they do try their best, but of course, we're all human. Everyone has an off moment, and yeah, it's just one of those things. But generally, the staff on Arvia, they're good. So guys, what do you think so far? Do you agree with us? Have you had different experiences? Let us know in the comments below, as we'd be really interested to hear from you.
Okay, so we've had a chat around the service of the staff. This one is now going into, I guess, their efficiencies, and specifically relating to cleanliness. So this one review states that public areas were often dirty and not well maintained, with trash left around for hours.
Well, I'm pleased to say on our sailing, we didn't experience any of that. I think the worst we saw was, when you go to sit down to a table, a few glasses left out or plates. And I think that was more of a case of, if it was a busy service, it was just as rushing to a table as soon as someone had left, and within 5 minutes someone would come to collect the empty glasses. But yeah, certainly in terms of like litter and cleanliness, I didn't see any problem, and we've got pretty high standards, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, again, we're not saying that this review is not right. In that case, I'm sure there was a problem there. It's really sad, but from a recent sailing, it was very clean and it was kept very tidy throughout. So hopefully, if it was the case in the past, they've got better and they've improved their service.
Yes.
Next, I've got one about maintenance, in this case specifically about the pools and the hot tubs.
Okay.
So pools and hot tubs were overcrowded and often closed for maintenance.
Okay. Pools being overcrowded, I don't think we ever experienced that. The interior pool, that could often be quite busy, but that one always is. It's more of the family pool, so you expect that one to be busier. Yeah. But the outdoor pools, we never really had an issue with. Hot tubs being busy, yes. It's similar to sunbeds, I guess, in that they can sometimes just be full for a very long time. And if you're not around one, you can't really gauge your gap to kind of jump in. Yeah. But generally speaking, we never really had an issue. I don't particularly use them, you do more.
Yeah, I mean, I had one to myself a few times, so I think it depends on the day. If it's a really hot summer day, and you're at the Sunset Bar and you want to go into one of the big hot tubs, lots of people go into there because it's right next to a bar, but generally there's a lot of hot tubs around that ship, so if that one's busy, you'll probably find one further along that's a bit quieter.
The swim up bar on Arvia, that was closed initially for safety reasons. All the hot tubs and pools were drained because the waves were quite bumpy, so they had to drain them for a safety reason, which is absolutely fine, you understand. But then they refilled them, and there was one particularly sunny, hot day, but they did not refill the swim up bar. Instead, they chose to keep it closed and run some maintenance, which took potentially a dozen employees to do quite little, I'd say.
It's like a little army just streaming through.
It was. They were very busy. They were all doing stuff. And everyone was almost just sat around the pool just looking in. Why couldn't you do this tomorrow? Like, when it's the last day tomorrow, you could maybe do it then. It was a shame.
Right, what you got next?
Right, the next one is all about noise levels. So lots of complaints have come through about Arvia being a particularly noisy ship. So this one here, noise levels in cabins themselves were very high, making it difficult to sleep, especially near the public areas.
Okay, well, on our sailing, it was particularly noisy, but that was again because of the rough seas. All we could hear all night was the waves crashing against the ship
and the ship creaking.
Yeah, it was really noisy. So from that point of view, I get it. I'm not sure if this review is talking about that kind of thing, or noise from either side of the cabins, or door slamming, that kind of thing. In our cabin on deck 4, we didn't hear anything from our neighbours. All we heard every now and then was a toilet flush, and because it's so powerful that there's not really much P&O can do about that. So that's fine from that point of view. All I'd say is, if you are a light sleeper, the best thing to do is, if the budget allows, go for the select fare and pick your own cabin, and just check the deck plans before you book it, and just make sure there's no deck above you where they could be putting out sunbeds, because trust me, if they're putting out sunbeds, you'll know about it in the morning. And just check you're not too close to any laundrettes or too close to the lobbies, and then you should be okay. But I do get it to a degree.
Exactly. I think one of the best tips we've ever had from any YouTube channel was from Gary Bembridge, when he was really talking about the deck plans. And the one thing we had never considered is the staff quarters and the staff access doors. They can be very loud. We were next to one on one sailing before, and that keeps you awake all night because they work all hours of the day and night. So thank you, Gary.
If
tips
you were ever to see travellers, check out his channel. He's very good.
One lady on our particular sailing of Arvia, so she had spent for an aft suite. So incredible suite, something we've always wanted to try as well. She really didn't enjoy it. So she said the view was amazing, but on the days in the Caribbean when there was DJs out in the Sunset Bar, so she couldn't even open her suite, let alone sit on it, because the noise was so intense. So I would really consider that if you were booking into an aft suite in a sunny, potentially very rowdy kind of area. Just because she really didn't have a great time of it. We did talk to another couple in an aft suite, and they actually enjoyed it. So it's really going to be personal preference for that.
So next we've got one about the Wi-Fi. So the onboard Wi-Fi was expensive and had very poor connectivity.
Okay, I'm happy to say this was not our experience in the slightest. So on our sailing on Arvia, I opted in for the basic Wi-Fi package. 2 reasons for that. 1, I wanted to keep in touch with the dogs back home to make sure they were okay. And 2, I had to log into work every now and then, just because it was a 16-nighter. And unfortunately, I just had to log in, so I needed a stable Wi-Fi connection. That said, we went for the singular device plan and the basic plan as well. And what I was told about that and what it says on the website is it can do emails, but it can't really do video streaming or anything beyond that kind of bandwidth capability. And I was so floored, as in impressed, floored, very happy about it. The quality of the Wi-Fi package that we had. The singular use aspect, we both use the Wi-Fi pack, and the way you get around that is if I was on my phone or on my laptop, I was that singular device at that time. You then disconnect and you can reconnect on another device. So you can actually share it between a family. So good money saver tip there. You don't need to get the multi-device plan if you all win the internet, you just need to share the code. But the connectivity and issues that we've seen some of the reviews stating, thankfully we did not experience them.
It was great.
It was amazing. I couldn't fault it. Okay, so this next one is all about the spa. So handing it over to you. The review states in this particular occasion, the spa services were overpriced and the facilities were subpar compared to other ships. What do you think?
Well, I couldn't agree with that, in our experience anyway. Now, the thermal spa, it is quite dear. So per day for 2 hours, it costs $39.99 per person. You can opt into having like a 3-dayer or a 7-nighter or a whole cruise package, but the prices do vary per cruise. So just speak to the spa team and they'll let you know what they can do. In terms of what the actual thermal spa offers, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I like it.
So you've got the thermal pool, you've got the lounges, you've got the steam room, big sauna, ice room, tropical showers. It's got everything, so I'm not sure how anyone could really say it's subpar, to be completely honest. But horses for courses.
Yeah.
When it comes to like massages and that kind of thing, again, it is really expensive, but I mean, that is common across cruise ships. And one thing you can do, keep an eye out for some of the offers, especially if you go to the spa raffles. They tend to have exclusive deals where they like package like different services together. So if you do want to try the spa out and you want a bit of a bargain, definitely go to the spa raffle, and you never know, you might win a prize and you might get a good deal. So, the real question, is Arvia really that bad?
Yeah, for me, easy answer, no. Arvia is not that bad. In fact, Arvia is fantastic. And at least in our experience, Arvia is fantastic. We have recommended it to everyone that we know, plus some that we don't know too much as well. And in hindsight as well, when we've actually sat back and done the math on the whole cruise, it was actually really good value for money. So when you think about that, it was a fantastic experience. So for full transparency, we paid £4,100 for our total price of the cruise. That included the flights there, which if we would have paid ourselves, would have been about £1,000 total. It then also included at the time with our select fare, £640 on board spend. So when you take off the £640 on board and then the £1,000 flights that we would have spent, on average it's £77 a night. And yeah, that was an absolute bargain. We loved it. We would do it again if we had the holiday allowance with work to do it again.
Absolutely, we'd do it tomorrow, wouldn't we?
Absolutely,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got this reputation somehow of being Butlins at sea, and I just can't see that. I mean, on some cruises, yes, there's lots and lots of kids, but the thing you've got to remember is P&O Cruises, they are a family cruise line, especially on the bigger ships. So, you know, if you're not a big fan of kids running around, maybe Arvia isn't for you, especially during the school holidays, that kind of thing. But in general, I think she's such a good all-rounder, and as you say, so good for value. Really, really good.
So the 4Bs actually released a video recently where they went online on Trip Advisor Cruise Critic and took all the average scores to kind of collate and rank the P&O fleet. And Arvia came in at the bottom, and they even said in their video, it's so subjective. It really is what you want from a cruise. So the biggest and best piece of advice that we can give, and it's from Gary Benbridge again, thank you again, Gary, is just really research what you want out of your cruise. If you don't want a family holiday, like really factor that in, because P&O, Royal Caribbean, they are family orientated ships. Royal, much more so, I'd say. But just really factor that in. If you don't want to go on a ship that has thousands and thousands of people, these newer kind of mega ships probably aren't for you, because they do hold a lot of people. It's 5,200 plus kids on top potentially. So in some cases, you're looking at 6,000 guests on board plus crew. So if that sounds like it's going to put you off, really don't go for it, because when they're busy, they're busy.
They are.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the main reason we wanted to put this video together was, if you're like us, we went through the reviews before we actually boarded, and we both kind of said, oh crikey, have we made a mistake?
Exactly. After we paid, but before we got off.
Yeah. And lo and behold, we had a really good time. So we wanted to put this out just to say that if you have booked a cruise in Arvia later on this year or next year or whenever, we had a really good time.
Yeah.
So although there's a lot of negative press and like reviews out there around Arvia, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad ship, because in our experience, she's an amazing ship.
Exactly.
You'll probably have a really good time.
Yeah, hope so.
Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments, have you been on Arvia? Do you disagree with us? Did you have different adventures, different stories, different things to tell us about? Just let us know in the comments, because we'd be genuinely really interested to read them.
And also, if you wouldn't mind giving the video a like, that would be great. We really appreciate it, and it really does help the videos reach more people.
So guys, we've got so much more to come. So if you haven't already, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell so YouTube can let you know the next time we release new content.